Well, one of the big debates we've had in this country is whether towns and cities are pulling apart and whether the economic geography of the country has been transformed. And you can see in the UK, but also in other countries around the world, in the US and in Europe, big divergence between the kinds of economic activity that take place in cities where there are a lot more of the innovation, the R&D, the skills. There's a leading sectors of the knowledge economy now agglomerating, coming together in cities, and towns, particularly post-industrial towns, but also coastal towns, increasingly being cut off from those sources of dynamism. And a debate about whether that's then reflected in our politics. The kind of people that voted for Donald Trump in the US tended not to be the East or West Coast liberals who live in Silicon Valley or the cities of New York and so on. Similarly in Europe, voters of Vienna voting very differently to those of rural Austria, or in France between the Gilets jaunes and the Parisians and so on. So this is a debate we see in many parts of the world reflecting some of these big economic changes. However, there's lots that can be done in public policy to bring towns and cities together, whether it's about education or connectivity in transport. There are lots of things that towns are doing themselves, not to wait for economic activity to come to them, but to improve what's happening in their localities. For example, the so-called Preston model, where lots of the sources of food supply for schools and so on being bought from the local community rather than from big companies, where they're trying to keep economic activity in the town. And you see also, I think, smaller towns having a dialogue with cities in the new city regional areas that we're getting in England as well. So a kind of coming together of agendas across a wider region than was the case in the past, perhaps with cities.